Hey guys, Len again on the Potters Pickers channel, and I am here with another exciting video to show you what sold in our eBay store again this week. It's just Sunday here, we're just starting off, it's our first day of the week, so let me show you what it is that we got going. Alright, so I'm going to try using a tripod this time so as to eliminate so much of the shakiness. But first thing I want to show you is this cute little pair of stackable coffee mugs that sold. I have my mug category on sale right now, 50% off, because we have a really hard time selling mugs. These mugs we've had for well over a year. And we started them off at 20 bucks for the pair, marked them down a bunch, and what we ended up with was letting this pair go for 5 bucks. What I got next for you is a record. Billy Joel, The Stranger. This one is from 1977. It's in relatively good condition, and it's one that we've had for a while. Billy Joel is one that sells pretty good for us, actually. So we usually pick up Billy Joel whenever we find it. They're not always worth a ton of money. This one sold for $8. We picked it up for $1. This one, another record. Hall & Oates, Change of Season. This one is factory sealed, so virgin vinyl, the collector loves that, and sometimes they never even open them. So, but this one sold for $20. And then finally, Johnny Cash Demonstrator. You see here how it says demonstration, not for sale, Columbia Records. These are given to radio stations, or were given to radio stations back in the day, and they would mark off which ones they thought were hits. And what's nice too is that it's marked here on the corner. Also, it says, let me see, there you go, for promotional only, ownership reserved by CBS, sale is unlawful. Another really important thing to look at when you see these demonstrators, you guys, is the label. Not all demonstrators have the white label, but the white label is by far the more collectible because these were definitely given to radio stations. Sometimes demos were given to record stores, bars, clubs, roller skating rinks, stuff like that. So this demonstrator was definitely, because it's got the white label and it says right on the top, demonstration not for sale, the white label indicates this was definitely a radio station demo. So this one, we bought it for $1 at the consignment store that was going out of business, and it sold for 13 bucks. A little disappointed, thought it might be worth a little bit more than that, but that's what we got for it, and we can't complain. Okay, everybody, we got a couple of more records that sold. This is Simon & Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, and you see there that this is a radio station demo again. Now, something I want to point out here, this record did not come with an inner sleeve. So, always keep inner sleeves on hand. You can buy those of varying grades and qualities on eBay. Usually a pack of 50 of them is $8 to $10. Also, the other thing I always keep is the 2mm poly sleeves, and I put that right in the listing that all my records get sent in a 2mm poly sleeve. Collectors, I think, appreciate that. So Simon & Garfunkel sold for 10 bucks, so happy about that. Also got the Eagles sold. This is called The Long Run. I'm sure you're familiar with that song if you know the Eagles. The Eagles are kind of touch and go in terms of value. This one was only 5 bucks. So when I buy the Eagles, unless it's Hotel California or their greatest hits, I try not to spend more than 50 cents or $1. So I'm sure I've had this one a while. It's probably no more than 50 cents or $1 that I have into that one. Alright, here we have a David Bowie CD, Hunky Dory. We got this CD for $2 and it sold for 11 bucks. Got this vintage Orlando Magic starter hat snapback, definitely from the 90s with the logo, but it was made in Korea, so it's not the greatest. The Made in the USA with the Union mark are really the good ones, but this one still sold for $13. Got another vintage snapback hat, definitely again from the 90s, the Phoenix Suns. And this one again, not made in the USA, made in Taiwan, so this one sold for 14 bucks. Well, this is an interesting lot of Ice Age collector cards. They're kind of transparent. You can see when you hold them up to the white background, they're like a plastic. My mother-in-law worked for a company that made sports cards, and they did a lot of promotional stuff that was never released, and this is one of those. We have about 15 lots of these cards. We broke them up into 12 sets, and this one sold for $2.50. We don't sell them too often. This is probably like the third set of them that we've sold, and one of the reasons is because they're kind of hard to find I mean, someone has to do a very specific search for them. So because there is no sales history and stuff like that, we put them up kind of cheap just as an experiment to see what would happen with them. And this set sold for $2.50. This is a Nintendo DS game, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Darkness. Nintendo DS games, what's great about them is they ship super cheap because they're teeny tiny. So put these in an envelope, ship it off first class. But DS games are great because you can get them dirt cheap. Usually it's moms selling them at garage sales, and you can get them oftentimes a couple of them for $1, especially without the case. But most of them are only worth like $3 to $5. Pokemon, however, Pokemon games do extremely well. This is the cheapest one I've ever found. This one sold for 11 bucks, but I've had a title called Soul Silver that I sold for $55. And usually anything Pokemon, when it comes to Nintendo, does extremely well. So this one sold for 11 bucks. Unfortunately, I forgot to film this one, but this is, I don't know how well you can see it. This is Supertramp Breakfast in America vinyl record. It sold for $6. Alright, another record, Scorpions Tokyo Tapes. Double LP. Very cool. In really good condition. And it sold for 13 bucks. Okay, this is a Nintendo Game Boy game. Metroid 2 Return of Samus. This is one that came up with the new seller tools. It came up as one that was underperforming and made a recommendation that I change the price. And we did. And it sold the very next day for 12 bucks. Alright, another video game. I love video games that, especially like Xbox, anything that comes with the little UPC code is awesome because they list super fast. It'll automatically populate everything for you, and you just have to put in your price and your shipping parameters. Fight Night Round 3 sold for $10. Alright, so what you are looking at is a complete vintage video game set called the Intellivision. This, I think, might be from like 1978, certainly no later than 1980. But what's cool is what you see on the right there is an optional computer component, a computer module component with a keyboard, and that plugs into the side where the video games plug in, and you can do like just basic computing with it. But it all works. We got this at a garage sale. Look, all the instruction manuals and everything right there. Squishing your head. And what's really cool, we got this at a garage sale with a total of 45 games, and we paid $35 for it. So what we did was we lotted this together with 8 games that all basically were valued at like $9 or less. So we have, over here, we have Vegas Poker. I love, like, I forgot that video game cases used to be really creepy. So it also came with Sub Hunt, Utopia, Donkey Kong, Lock and Chase, NFL football, NBA basketball, and motocross. So a really good variety of different kinds of games for this person. Vintage gaming, you guys, is always a hot seller. We've had at least a couple of these games. We had like a Dungeons and Dragons game that sold for like $55. So we have made a ton of money on this. Another interesting thing, when we listed this summer, we had it listed for $235 originally, because that's what they were going for at the time. And we kind of have the list it and forget it mentality. And it sat and sat and sat. And when we were looking through the new seller tools, this was another one that came up underperforming. And I'm going to make a video about this tool, you guys. I can't remember. I think it's under either growth or performance in the seller hub. And we were looking at them, and it was recommending a price of $90. So we're like, okay, we'll just change it. It's not moving. And we did that, and it sold within a day. So it's a very good tool. We still made very good money on it. But anyhow, vintage video games, guys, you got to do it. You find them at garage sales. Most people don't know what they have, like these people. And we got all of this stuff we got... I want to say we got about $600 in value total with all of the games and this for $35. And the thing is, even when people know what they have and they price it high, people aren't buying this kind of stuff at garage sales. So you can really negotiate, especially if it's late in the day, Saturday or on a Sunday. Like, look, yeah, it sells on eBay for X amount of dollars, but no one's buying it. If you want eBay prices, you've got to put it on eBay, and you have some real negotiating power there. So, anyhow, Intellivision vintage video game sold for $90. More records. This time we have Robert Plant, the Principle of Moments. This one sold for $9. And speaking of Robert Plant, we have his more well-known Led Zeppelin 2, of which, of course, Robert Plant was the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. Think Your Whole Lot of Love, Heartbreaker, Ramble On, iconic record. Has a little bit of damage here in the corner where it looks like somebody peeled a sticker off. Otherwise, for a record that was pressed in the 70s, it's in really good condition, and it was good enough that it brought us $21. Alright, I got a snapback hat here. This is Orlando Fire Department. It's in really good condition. Snaps are in great shape, and it might not surprise you to know that this is going to be shipping to Orlando, and we sold it for $10. So that was our week. A lot of stuff that went out, a lot of video games this week, still records, of course, going out. The Rubik's Cube was fun just for nostalgia, not a lot of money, but I so remember breaking that thing apart and putting it back together to solve it when I was 8 years old. So it was cool to find that. So, and that's what, that's what picking's all about, You do it with clothes, toys, etc. So anyhow, let me share with you what our numbers were. We had total Total items sold was 22 this week. That's up 28% from last week. Our total revenue was $312.26, which was up 36% from the previous week. And our average sale was $14.19, which was up 12%, but still not nearly where we want to be. We really want to start to approach that $20 average per item. Bit of a disappointment this week. We had a really expensive piece sell that the buyer never paid for. It was a piece of art by an artist named Goya. If you check our store, you can go see it. It's $1,000. They bought it through global shipping. Couldn't send him an invoice, was in contact, and the customer just ultimately wasn't communicating and went to a unpaid item case and didn't come through. So that would have been really nice. That would have really upped our averages, but it didn't happen. So what can you do? Those things are out of our control. I wish eBay would do something about that, but I really don't know what they could do. So that's just part of the game, right? Happens all the time. So this week we have a lot more listing to do. I'm going to try to get this pile of records I have sitting here to my right listed, as well as many other things. I got a lot of toys I need to put up that we intended to get up for before Christmas and just never got to. A lot of stuff to do, guys. So keep listing, keep picking, like, subscribe, share. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care.